What's up, everybody? For those, this is the first time this is Real Talk Chronicles, Bill Forster and Alyson Williams. We'll talk with Alyson Williams. So we will say Happy New Year, and it's still January. So somebody
Happy
told
New
me a long
Year.
time ago, it's still New Year's until you see the person, and after that, then don't say it anymore. So with that and saying all of that, Happy New Year to you all. I hope your New Year is off to a good start. I wish you all the blessings in the new year and beyond. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Tonight, we're doing a special segment on Martin Luther King because for those out there that just have a day off, you need to understand that why you're off. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about that. But let me get the sponsors and other stuff coming and those things out of the way. We were sponsored by the Daily Arts of Survival magazine, #1 martial arts magazine in the country. Ingram Taxes. It's tax season coming up, so please do that. Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, of course, Soft Illusions Art Gallery. My wife, her and her mother, that's their gallery. It's always beautiful things to shout out. Stefania's in the building. She says, "What's up?" Melba Wilson, Cuisine, Leon Ellis Chocolat, and Harlem Underground. Saying all that and getting that all out the way. I want to say Happy New Year to you all again. And let me bring in Alyson first. Alyson, how are you doing?
Happy New Year to you, Bill and Malika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be here for this Martin Luther King Jr. edition of Real Talk Chronicles. And the new year has started off with a bang. I love it because you give me a chance to give my perspective of the world as I run through it one city at a time, one stage at a time. As your listeners and viewers know, as of last year, I had been going out on some dates with Najee, Grammy Award-winning NAACP recipient Najee, and I have new music on his new CD called Savoir Faire. We covered the classic R&B song Valentine Love, and it's been getting great response. So he said, "You need to come out on the road and let's let the people see you." And I was really grateful to have that experience, especially having gone through such a traumatic time coming into 2022. Having put that in the rearview mirror, we started out again in Cincinnati. Shout out to Ludlow's Garage in Cincinnati and everybody in that neck of the woods. And I tell you, they came out and they showed up and showed out. And it was sold out, packed house. And it's really great, Bill, because, I tease you and Malika all the time. I say, when I see pictures, y'all become that couple. You put your clothes on and go to your events and you're dancing. And
Yeah.
Oh, you're so respectable. Anyway, I really appreciated, the demographic that we serve. And if people don't, I'm sure everybody's, I think would be in agreement to say the adult demographic is really starving for places to go, things to do, and really good entertainment. So, you got folks out there and they're having a good time. But by the time the end of the show came and they're up on their feet, you really know they appreciate you. Because right now we're not trying to jump up and down.
Right.
But we do, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we would love, and I know they would love and receive us just as much sitting down. But when they get up on those feet, honey, and start raising the roof and doing their little thing, it's like that they're glad to be out and glad to be having a good time in an environment that's conducive to what they have grown to know.
And what's so funny was that being said, with our special guest. For those that don't know, I got my uncle in the building with me tonight.
Hey.
And he is going to keep it 100 like he always does. And the one thing about him, he says, if you don't want to know, don't ask him. But if you listen long enough, you're going to find out. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate him so much.
Excuse me.
Stepping right in that family tradition. Being a voice of reason, a father, uncle, my hangout partner. Still to this day, we hang and we rock. I wanted to especially honor Dr. King tonight with somebody that could talk history with us, because a lot of times, you have people, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but people they say they was there, or they say they knew about something, but they really wasn't. Due to his youthful nature and his seasoned life, he's a man that can give you history, and he's gonna give it to you with no chaser. He may have a little chaser later on, but he ain't gonna give it a chaser right now. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give a big some hearts, some love for my uncle, and affectionately your uncle, Mr. Willie Walker. Oh, what
up, baby? Alyson, love you. Bill, love you. Listen, talk about my hangout, my road dog. Absolutely. Right? That's my road dog. So absolutely. Anybody that know me don't know I hang out with a lot of people, but when you see me, I'm hanging with my nephew.
Absolutely.
We kick it.
So anybody tonight, if you have questions in regards to anything historically that you want to understand, and I'm just going to say this, him and I don't like that title of just Harlem mayor or Harlem this, because we definitely think we 5 boroughs or more. But the thing is, we were with somebody the other night, and he won't go mention of somebody of political status, and said, yo, he said, Willie, you're the godfather of Harlem. You're the real godfather of Harlem. But I think that's just a testament to who he is and what he can do, and just his knowledge of Harlem and just history. Stefania even goes into this. Stefania, I'm going to come back to that question. But when we talk about Martin Luther King, what's your first recollection, and when somebody mentions Martin Luther King to you?
Well, the first is what he did at the age of 29. I think it was 29. People don't realize how young he was. He died at 39 years old. So he started doing all of this about age 26.
Move over to your right. I think. Yeah. Okay. So I want everybody to see you. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Uncle Willie, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just have to say this because it was a point that that I had that same reaction to some information. I was all day long. They've been playing different programs, speaking into Dr. King's life, what he did, how he came to be. And I remember the man saying, at 26 years old, he saw, and I can't consider myself say, wait a minute, 26. And then, they went back to the footage, and the man was introducing him at one of the rallies, one of the meetings, when they were trying to figure out how to keep get that bus strike going in Alabama. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Martin Luther. I said, well, he was Dr. Martin Luther King at 26. It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to think that what he had accomplished at that moment, only to go on and then to have it cut short as well. But 26, there were some people on a serious mission. How important. We must have really been it was going on. We had to try to figure it out.
Well, the people that did the most in the civil rights movement, right? Well, not the adults, not the grown, not the.
That's what I came to know. That's the takeaway that I got today in watching these programs.
It was the teenagers, the young people. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. So the civil rights movement didn't start in the 60s. The civil rights movement started in 1955. And the first slowdown in Birmingham, Alabama was when our parents didn't ride mass transit, didn't buy anything from anybody. So it was an economic breakdown of whites that made the civil rights movement work. That and Malcolm X. Malcolm X did as much to make the civil rights movement work as Martin Luther King in a different way. Mm-hmm. Whites did not want Malcolm X. They would much rather side with Martin Luther King and work with the nonviolent aspect of what we were doing. People talk about nonviolence, right? But the marches and the protests, nonviolent was actually to get something done. That wasn't the reason why they did it. There had to be a program. If you don't get anything out of the nonviolent program, you don't understand what this was about.
So please break it down, because you know what's so funny? Back then, everybody of leadership for us, they called them terrorists. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like you just said, it seemed like they wanted and I say this with all due respect, the passive aspect of Dr. Martin Luther King over Malcolm X. Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, Malcolm X was a Muslim that he saw things differently. Malcolm X said, I'm not going to beg. I have a peaceful protest of things that I'm deserving anyway. He said, I'm free. I'm supposed to be free. And I will fight for my freedom. Martin Luther King said, I will protest. And a lot of that came from Gandhi and peaceful movement and peaceful protest. So what Martin Luther King said, we can make a change. And the change was a change in the country for a program and how we're going to do things from here on. So when people talk about the violence of it, there was never any violence in this. Blacks never fought back. When we were beaten, we never fought back. When dogs was on us, we never fought back. When hoses from the fire department was on us, we never fought back. So a peaceful movement was to get your head knocked in and still stand up and say, I have rights, and I will march and I will protest for my rights. It was protest. Non-violence didn't enter the aspect until it was on the white side, not on the black side.
Let me just say this, everybody, if you're watching Real Talk Chronicles with my co-host Alyson Williams, I got my special guest who is part of the Real Talk family, my uncle Willie Walker in the building, and he is breaking it down for us tonight. We're getting some history. We will definitely be back in February for some Black History Month. But the thing is, Stefania asks us a question, and we'll go back to this. Oh, but first and foremost, if you're watching Real Talk Chronicles, please subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button for us, please, so we can know that you watch us and care about us, and we're here for you. Stefania says, do you think we should have followed Malcolm X more than Malcolm?
People did follow Malcolm X, those that believed.
I mean, more than Martin Luther King. I'm sorry. She said, do you think we should have followed Malcolm X more than we followed Martin Luther King?
Well, the best part about that is that you had a choice.
Right.
You had a choice to do peaceful protests. What happened in peaceful protests is that it was non-violence. So if a white man hit you in the head or beat you or put a dog on you, you walk away and you take it. Malcolm X said, if you slap me, I'm gonna slap you back. Mm-hmm. That was a difference in how things was done. So he believed not in violence, but he believed in an eye for an eye. I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to protect those around me. And he didn't do it in an aggressive manner, but I say it in an aggressive manner. He said, if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly.
Right. So in the Southern Christian Conference says, I'm not going to hit you back. I'm going to turn the other cheek. And that was more of a Christian thing than it was of a Muslim thing, of lifestyle.
So let me ask you this question. Martin being from the South, Atlanta, and I see you, Vanessa. I know you got some knowledge for you. She says, I've lived in Atlanta for over 25 years. So please, I would love for you. Shout out to Vanessa chiming in from Atlanta. And everybody, if you're watching, I shared it on Facebook. But if you want to comment, please, we're on YouTube Live. So come to YouTube and talk to us. So you're from Alabama. And I know people from Birmingham, they don't take that. They don't take that mess. But talk about really what it was like from in the South aspect for Martin to come in and try to elevate his people and still be like scrutinized from and take a passive approach, because sometimes you and I talk, we don't play that hit me, and you know what I'm saying.
Right. I did in Alabama, because what happened is the civil rights movement worked because of young people. Young people did the protesting. Young people got beat. Young people, all of this happened with young people. So when you look at Martin Luther King at age 26, he wasn't much different from what we were doing as teenagers, right? So when you talk about the civil rights, you talk about the nonviolence part. Everybody wants to say today, all these years later, that they knew Martin Luther King and they marched with him and they did all of this. It didn't happen. When he came into a town, he met with the pastors of big churches and small churches. They met together. And what we got was what we were supposed to do, what our assignment was. If we were to protest and we was to sit in, whatever we were supposed to do, we didn't get it directly from Martin. We got it from other pastors in our neighborhoods. So when everybody said they met him, they was with him, majority of the people that said that is lying. So we got our orders from our parents, from the pastors, from the teachers, people that we respect in the neighborhood that says, if you can do this, you could do a sit-in. You could be a part of the sit-in. If you can't do this, and I was training for this. If you can't do this, then you can't be a part of protests. You can't be a part of sit-ins.
Wow. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. We got Mr. Willie Walker on. Amir is in the building. He said, good evening, Alyson, Bill, and Willie. Blessings to you all. Amir, we're going to bring you in definitely soon. Not tonight, but maybe in the future, especially because Amir's father was Malcolm's bodyguard. Doris Brown says, who are our civil rights leaders today? Who are the Martin Luther Kings of today in the community, Mr. Walker?
Well, we don't have people in the community that's really stepping up. It's about the dollar today. It's hard to find somebody to say, I'm committed to a civil rights movement. I'm committed to my people. I'm committed to protesting because it's about the dollar today. I don't see people standing up saying, I'm willing to go the extra mile to make sure I'm a fight for my people. And whether it's a peaceful protest or protest a Muslim way, right? People aren't stepping up to say that anymore, but everybody want to be a leader in the Black community. When it stopped being about a dollar, right? Then you could look at people and say, I can follow them, I can trust them, and I can believe in them. It's about money today.
Very good.
And let's call it what it is. White men have made it possible that you could get the money. So, it's a sellout. And I don't care what community person that don't like what I said, screw them. But it is what it is.
Facts. Eddie Vieira's in the building. Shout out to Eddie Vieira. He says, hi, Alyson. Hi, Brother Bill, and a big hug to my uncle, too. Willie, much love and respect. Need to come visit you soon. Vanessa said Dr. King did follow Gandhi and his theology of nonviolence and practices to expose the American system on the lack of human rights from African Americans and racism. You know what I'm saying? So we got people in here definitely that's chiming in. They want to know about this.
It's important about that too. He believed in the non-violent part of Gandhi, but the way they did it in India was different from the way they did it here.
Right. Amir said, I think we have a different way of leading in this day than we may have had in the past. Absolutely. Like Unc referred to, it's about the dollar, listen, he knows more than me. I sit here and I talk to him about that all the time. Stefania wants to ask you, can you ask my statue question, please? Okay, Stefania, I'll get on that. She wants to know, what do you think of the statue, the new statue of Dr. King? I saw that. I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw it.
Yeah, exactly. That's just leave it. Listen, I wasn't impressed with it. I'm speaking for me right now. I
don't know what statement that's supposed to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Can one of you elaborate? As I'm one of the people that hasn't seen it, and I'm not.
It's arms and hands.
Yeah.
Say it again.
It's arms and hands.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can send it to you, Alyson, while we're on, and see if you can go to that. Yeah, Stefania, what do we say to that? I think sometimes, and I'm like I said, the comments of me are for me. Sometimes they throw us breadcrumbs and we're supposed to accept that. I don't even know. Vanessa said the church and its members was at a visual part of the movement along with the college students. The mentality was different. It was about we instead of me for the greater good for our community and our people. Thank you. Hey, Vanessa, let me ask you a question while we have you. What do you feel? What was the energy like today? I mean, are people really about the Dr. King? Or I see a lot of churches having services and stuff like that, but I don't know where does it go from here? How do you feel about that? Shout out to Tracy. Yes, the children. She said yes to Children's March. What's up? What's up, Reggie? How are you, Reggie? Reggie, where are you? Are you in Atlanta too? We got a lot of Atlanta people chiming in here. I see you, Lou. I don't know what city you in now. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Please subscribe to it, like it. From, I'm gonna be facetious and make a little joke. I think the way our people are acting today, Dr. King might be rolling over in his grave to the way a lot of our people are still acting and not doing what they're supposed to do. I think the man worked so hard. The leaders back then, and like you said, and help me elaborate on this. The leaders back then, we had leaders. We didn't. I mean, where are our leaders today?
Well, leaders came out of necessity,
right?
In segregation, in a segregation society, right? You either had to get off the pot, or you had to do whatever, right? But in a segregated society, you really didn't have any rights. It was just one step up from slavery. We didn't have law enforcement. We didn't have taxation without representation. There was no representation for the blacks. So leaders came out of necessity. Today, the necessity is still there, but leaders don't understand what it is. The civil rights movement had to be broken. When we talk about we had rights from the Lincoln slavery time, that was still going on in Alabama. That was still going on in a lot of states as to how you was treated, what your rights were, what you could do and what you couldn't do. We were still, when I was growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, you could not go in a restaurant and buy anything. You could not go in a store. There was no, listen, when our parents stopped buying from the stores, you know what they used to say, Bill? If it mean I got to hire a nigga to be a cashier, right, to feed my family, I'll do that.
Right.
So when we talk about the economics of this, when we're talking about breaking the back of people that feel about two things, right? Money and power. Money and power. So if you take the money and the power away, right, people would be more in a position of saying, I understand what you're going through, and I'm willing to step back and not fight you for your rights. We are being fought every day for the rights that we have, or rights that we fought for. Did you understand, even during the time of Civil War, some blacks fought on the British side?
Yes.
Because they didn't take what was going on with the American in this country. And that's not being broadcast. They would never tell you that.
Right. Wow. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Subscribe to it, please. Let me just read some comments. Shout out to Anna is in the building. She says hello.
Hey, Anna.
Stefani says, speaking of disgrace, did y'all all see the party flyers for today with MLK on it? Very distasteful. They got him holding chains and bottles of liquor. The community doesn't take anything seriously. Nah, I didn't see that. That's so disrespectful. Amir says, I think leadership is fractured by the way information is being shared these days on these various applications. Vanessa also said the prosperity movement in the church corrupted and tainted the true gospel of Jesus Christ. Dr. King embraced the true essence of servanthood and sacrificial to leverage over people and mission of economic power. Hey, Melvin. Melvin says, hello, everybody. He says, hey, Allie. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alyson Williams. That's Willie Walker. We're talking about it. Enid Acasio's in the building. What's up, Enid? She said, well, in a supposed to be a service day, many use it to sit around, but we should be going to service someone or organizations some way from or fashion. Stefani said,
we should be volunteering. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of non-for-profits in neighborhoods that we should volunteer, we should support. And the way non-for-profits don't get a lot, they don't have a lot. You know, when you get a grant for a non-for-profit, it's enough to pay your rent, it's enough to buy equipment, and it's a small percentage go towards salaries, right? So if you really want to do something, go to a non-for-profit in your neighborhood. Help them grow. Help them with their program, because those programs are usually community-minded programs.
Yeah. Allie, you got any thoughts, comments? Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. I see you, Lou, from North Carolina, my man. Listen, everybody, if you got questions and comments, please chime in, because, like I said, we're getting some history, and it's about Dr. Martin Luther King, but people ain't really celebrating him like that. Lorraine Kitchen in the building. Ina said, yes, I agree. Good evening. So, everybody, we're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. I wanted to do something, and who better to go to my historian in my family and ask him to come on tonight and give you some knowledge and some food. Like a lot of time, you know, give food to people, but they don't want to eat it. It's your choice. You can leave it there on the table. If you got some questions you got to ask, you want to ask about history or Dr. Martin Luther King, ask. There's a man right there that's been there. His time on earth has seen it. We're not talking about somebody. I can't tell you unless what I read, but that's a man that's understood it in talk about it. You've watched the whole thing play out, correct?
Yeah, well, you know what? I living where I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. You had to be a part of it. You had to understand what was going on. There was no time to stand by the wayside, right? No time to stand by the wayside. Nobody wanted to. Everybody wanted to participate because we understood what we were going through. We understood if we don't do it now, we'll go through this forever. So when they said the time is now, the time is now to protest. The protest was a fight, but it was just done in a different way. We wanted.
I think that because we have a long way to go, but we've come so far, and where we have come to leaves a lot of people generationally out of the loop, having not known what it was to go through that. You know, that problem is solved now, so people kind of feel like they don't have to step up to the plate. The urgency is not there, and they're not taking into consideration that if we fail to protect the liberties, they could disappear. You know what I'm saying? Or you're not really paying homage the way you should, by not recognizing and like you said, going out and doing all that you can. And people just, you know, they're sitting back, either because they have something else that you know, oh, well, that doesn't concern me, or I don't have to. Yeah, well, you do. I just want to go back because Bill, you sent me the image of the embrace, the statue. Yeah. Tell me, if you can, where that is and what it was, and what is. I get that it is taken from a picture. I saw that, but I saw it in passing. I didn't know what it was. Tell us what it is.
Well, basically, it's a picture. And Stefania, correct me and uncorrect me. I guess there's a picture. What I sent you is supposed to have been, I guess, him holding his wife, and then they just showed the arms. It doesn't signify anything. You know, so funny. And
I'm trying to figure out, where is it? Who put it up? What is it? What?
Vanessa or Stefania, help me. Is that in Atlanta? Where is that at? Because I think it's so distasteful. Because the bottom line, and help me, you know, you and I, we converse about stuff like this. Sometimes they throw breadcrumbs at us and they want us to be happy with it. Like, yo, like, knock it off, really. Go ahead, please.
Well, this is just not a small statue. It's thousands of pounds. It really putting it together. It's 7 pieces to put together to erect this statue. What we see now is just the first part. It's 7 more parts to go through this. So everybody's up in arms because they see just the arms, right? They don't see the other 6 parts to go with it.
Okay.
Stefania said it's $10 million wasted, and it's in Boston.
Okay.
It's wasted.
Well, she feels it's wasted. That's what she said. It's wasted. I don't know. You know, I mean, we're on YouTube, so that's where all the comments and questions. I mean, what do you think? Would you rather wait to see the finished product of it?
Absolutely.
The point is, it's not my money. So I, you know, if everybody got a right to say it's wasted, you know, if you don't want things erected by your own, about your own people, who do you want it by? I know there are other statues around that people say they don't say that about. So, you know, how can that be bad? How can it be wasted? It's not your money. It's not state money. And if it was, it should be done. I wish it was state money, so it should be done. How do being recognized is a waste of your own people?
Yeah.
Must be right.
Well, I think we at least need to wait and see the finished product before we pass judgment on the first installment.
No, that's Stefania. You know Stefania.
She's still white. She don't. She got a white mentality. I don't care.
Oh, Stefania, yo, I'm coming at you. She said, from what I read, this is a complete statue. There aren't any future pieces. I have no idea. I don't know. Listen,
I'm with Uncle Willie. You know, if what is presently being presented is the finished piece, then it comes from a picture that shows him embracing Coretta, and so it is an embrace, and maybe we need an embrace from, you know, that Dr. King tried to embrace the world. It's just look at it what it is, and if it's something that's going to continue to speak into his legacy, it can't be a bad thing, like Uncle Willie said.
Yeah, she said no. She said she feels it's a waste because of the appearance. And she says, oh, no, definitely not white-minded. I got you. Shout out to Cheryl in the building. Shout out to Lynn in the building. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Subscribe to it, please. We're on YouTube. Help build the brand. Colin says, should we just donated that $10 million to the Martin Luther King Foundation?
It's not your money. Well, listen, everybody, listen. You got an opinion of where your money should go if it's your money. So if anybody asking me whether they should donate it or whether they should do certain things about it, I don't have an opinion about that. It's not my money. If it was my money, I would have an opinion about where it should go.
So what's your personal feeling about the statue at all? You don't care? Give a damn?
Listen, they got pictures of dogs, man. Anytime there's a statue about your own people to say something positive, how can that be negative? It's so much negative things about us as a people.
Right.
So when there's something to recognize a person that has done so much, how can you you know what? We're in a habit of just criticizing every goddamn thing and really without understanding it. This is something for your own people that you didn't put a dime in, but you're criticizing it. That's what pissed me off.
Good point.
Everybody wants something. I bet you if they put a statue of Michael Jackson up, everybody would talk about how great it is.
Right. Okay. So basically, like I said, the fact that it's showing. So you think people have a problem with what? It's not a picture of him. It's just a picture of arms. But
what's negative about an artist performing that work? Like Alyson sing. She's an artist. Who gonna tell her she's singing in the wrong style?
Right.
People display their art, and the people that did this, designed this, right, got money to do that.
Right.
I'll put their own money in to do that.
Yeah. So,
and we're gonna sit back and complain and say it's wrong.
So I get what you're saying, and I co-sign that because that's facts. What you just said is facts. Unless you're putting your money up, then shut up, kind of basically, right? So, right? Is that
how do we honor people? You know, it's a day that the nation recognized as his day. And here's a black person saying, well, it's a waste of time to put a statue up for him. How about that?
Yeah. My man Jay Barrett said, do you think it's incomplete because they don't have they don't have any faces?
They said 7 more pieces to go with it.
Okay. All right. So
they put that down. They put that down because this is his day. Do you understand? A lot of people don't even know what this day is. I heard a person talk on the radio, talk about this is his birthday. This is a day of memorial. This is a day of mourning. This is a day that we should really do something based on what he died for. It pisses me off. And I don't want to get personal about this, right? But the point is that when do we learn? When does it become important for Black people to appreciate Black people? Nobody else going to appreciate us.
Real talk.
You may not have me on again.
No, I listen. Listen, you family, I'm gonna have you on all the time. I don't give a damn shit. It's what we do. You say what we want to say. You listen, you've earned the right. You've earned the right to say what you're supposed to say. Trust me. You've been there, you've walked it. You know, like I said, I personally get annoyed when I see people try to speak of things and they interview them and you'd be like, how old? Like, you can't interview me on Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm not a historian on it because what was I like 3 years old, 4 years old? What am I gonna tell you? I can only tell you what I've learned, read, or listened to. So that's why I can come to you because you've seen it, understood it, and
lived it.
Yeah, and lived it.
People don't even understand how young he was and what he did. People don't understand that. He died at 39. And all of this was before his death. He started at age 26. And we talk about Christians. It was one question about Christianity, right? Christ died at 33. So what age should you follow a person? What age is a person word relevant? Do you believe what he said? Do you follow what he said? Or who do you believe in? What do the people that are doing the talking, what do they believe in and who do they believe in? And what difference have they made in their belief?
Very real. Facts. Eddie Vieira said the general public didn't understand art. A statue is designed and created by artists. Plus, like Willie stated, people are confused between a monument, no matter what it looks like, and a portrait. So everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. We got Willie Walker. We got Real Talk with Alyson Williams. Listen, Willie dropping jewels. I don't know if you want to pick him up or you want to leave him on the ground. That's your choice. But he dropping them. So listen, you know, talk about, like you said, you said you get annoyed how what people are not doing and what they're saying and stuff like that. Just elaborate more on your personal feeling. Stefania says, we appreciate a statue being put up in his honor. However, when you look at the statue, it definitely does look distasteful. That's all we were saying. I read an article where Coretta's family member, I guess she didn't finish that. Coretta had expressed her disdain for it. Feels like it was done in poor taste. So I guess
art is objective. Everybody have an opinion about what art is and what they see in art. So if that's anybody's opinion, it's subjective. You have a right to that. This is what civil rights is. You have a right not to like it.
Talk about civil rights to us, please.
What do you want to know about civil rights?
Well, first and foremost, Dr. King stood for civil rights, right? I mean, it definitely was about unionship, stuff like that. Elaborate for us or enlighten us, please, on what Dr. King stood for and then civil rights aspect, please.
You have to understand what was in this country, period, not just in the South, right? You had better rights in New York than you had in Alabama, right? Because you still had the same people that fought in the Civil War, acting out the same way they did there. White people believe in this. They believe in money and they believe in power. No one want to give up power. Nobody. And their money, make more money. So as long as anybody could keep you down and keep you from making money, keep you from teaching and giving your children a leg up, they're going to stop you. So what are your rights and what do you fight for? What do you stand for? I was a single parent with 5 girls. You know what I stood for? How are they going to be better than me? And you know what, Bill? You saw my little grandson talked to me yesterday, and he said, we talked about martial arts, and I said, you're going to be better than me. He said, Granddad, I don't ever want to be better than you. And I said, never say that.
No, right.
Never say that. You're going to be better than I am. I expect you to be better than I am. So if we're not looking at our children and say, how do we give them a leg up, right? They're going to be less than we are as they grow. So part of what we do in civil rights is, what do you do with your family? How do you grow your family? How do you be respectful enough to make, let's talk about civil rights. Let's talk about guys, right? How many young guys got babies out there? Girls have babies that say, I had him because his hair's nice and his eyes is nice. How many guys out there saying, I want you to have my baby, but I'm not willing to take care of that child simply because he can't take care of his own ass. So rights, this is what I get pissed off about. I get pissed off when people don't look at themselves and say, I deserve better. That's what civil rights is. I deserve better than what I have, and I deserve better than what you think you're going to give me.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I got Willie Walker, my uncle, on the building, and Alyson Williams. Alyson, thoughts, comments, anything you want to add?
As I was listening to what Uncle Willie was saying, it took me back to the documentaries and the different pieces I've been looking at today. And, that the young people were the ones that were on the front line. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that the parents had to, in as much as they had an opinion and in their hearts and in their souls to try to make things better, they had to maintain their jobs. They had to, they couldn't always be on the front line, because who was going to keep that job? Who was going to, whatever it was, whatever you worked, maybe you worked for the railroad, maybe you worked as a domestic, whatever you did, they had to hold the job down. So the young people, because of the fact that the parents were pouring into them the importance of civil rights and making a change, they were prepared to go out there and try to make a difference. These kids today, I don't think, are prepared to make the moves. I won't say that they're not. I think it's just a different day and a different time, and it's manifests itself differently. But King was young. These people were young. They were following him, and I'm thankful for the fact that they did. I'm thankful for the people that made the sacrifice. If you look closely at all the footage you can see of us being hosed down and dogs being sicked on us and so on and so forth, those were young people.
What people don't
sometimes even children.
What people don't understand is what happened to adults. If they knew that your child was a part of the sit-ins and a part of the protest, you got fired.
Mm-hmm.
So it just wasn't the children. It was the young people that stood on the front line. But our parents suffered as well. They couldn't send us out to protest, right? And not take what was coming to them. The whole family was devastated. Until whites understood economics, we was all right to eat black-eyed peas and neck bones, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My family didn't buy from anybody white. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we had greens, we had collard greens and ham hock. But we didn't buy it from anybody. And 6 months after that, when people had to close their stores, it's a store called Pizzette's now in Birmingham, Alabama. It's been closed since 65 to this very day because of civil rights. They refused to open. And that's great, because they refused to hire anybody of color. I'm passionate about this. I lived in this. So when I see
do you think that well, I think that if we could take a moment and look back and realize just how effective economic protests was, I think we could accomplish so much more. But I see so many people when I work with Dr. Bob Law from the radio, WBAI, and so on and so forth, and a lot of times people will come, or they we'll be discussing things, and it'll come up, if you just take a day and don't go into Burger King, or don't go into whatever it was they were trying to, there was something that that came up that was awry, but you can't get people to do it. It's almost like they don't understand the power behind it.
People talk about Gucci, they talk about all the designers, right? Understand one thing: if you talk about me, you stop buying. So if you need something or want something or need me to do something or want me to do it, if it's to satisfy you or satisfy a few people, I'm going to do it. They understand the economics of a protest where they could actually lose their business when people stop buying. We are consumers. We have so much power, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Because we are the people that buy everything from everybody, whether we need it or not, whether we want it or not, right? And if we stop buying, right, everything that Black people need, want, and desire in a constructive way can be done. But we don't do that.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Willie Walker. That's Alyson Williams. I am Bill Forster. If you like it, subscribe to it. I think Willie's going to have to get his own show with me. We're going to have to come back here, get him once a month.
I think you should stop me from talking.
No, absolutely not. We ain't never going to put a muzzle on us. Enid said, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. She says, right, we want our youth to be better and more. She said, it was the words of our Savior before he was sent to death. Vanessa said, we can afford to remain complacent about these issues because as Black people, we need to gain economic freedom and success to broaden our options. Dr. King, the Ginger, was working towards these areas for our community. I think the last thing he was standing for and with was the sanitation workers getting better paid wages and labor union. Absolutely. Rochelle said the statue is beauty in the eyes of the beholder. I volunteer in my community now and before I retired and believe it always helps. Rochelle, I think, where are you in? You're in Florida or something. Shout out to everybody from wherever you're chiming in all over the world and the country. I appreciate you. My man Reggie, he said greatness. He said it was a Black artist. They gave him 10.5 million for the statue. So that's a Black artist that did that. So wow, let's understand who we're talking about too. That was his eyes. The beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Eddie Vieira's an artist, so abstract, whatever you see, maybe is what it is. Sometimes, I guess, even me, speaking out of turn, unbeknown to me, thought that was a finished product. Didn't know that was just a piece of a puzzle. And like you said, I stand corrected. It's art. Who am I to say it's not good? If I don't like it, I don't have to buy it. I don't have to take a picture of it. Vanessa said, Dr. King showed us our power base. It's our money. Colin said, they should have waited until the statue was completed before displaying it. What's the rush? Real talk. Everybody.
King Day.
I guess, yeah, he's trying to rush it out and get it out there. Tracy has a question. She says, can you talk about the part Jewish people played in civil rights?
Yeah. Well, not all Jews, but I tell you, they were instrumental. Young Jewish people coming down south. The older Jewish people gave money because they didn't want Malcolm X, right? It's just as simple as that. They supported financially with the Southern Christian Conference. But the younger people, some young white Jewish people came to Alabama. And they got the same treatment that we got, sometimes even worse, because they were white. And this is what the Southerners, even to this very day, dislike Jews, because there was an alliance. And in that alliance, they gave their money, right? And they put their life on the line.
Tracy, if you got more questions, just put them in. Rochelle said, born in the Bronx. My parents marched with Dr. King, and I live in Florida. That's what's up. Eddie said, he says, clearly unity and boycott would make a change, but what or how can this movement be started for African Americans, let alone Hispanics?
A voice? Where's the voice today? The voice is in the community. How many people are actually working in their community to make a difference? How many people are strengthening their community to make the difference? Everything is local. Everybody want to see a black president. They want to see a black mayor. They want to see all of that. It's local politics. It starts with the CBOs, the community-based organizations within your community. Strengthen them. They're doing good work. The majority of them are doing good work. Some of them are in it for the money, but the majority of them are doing good work. Find out who they are. Help them grow. That's how you start. That's how you make a difference. That's where your voice is.
Yeah. My condolences to you, Lorraine. She said, my mom just passed away at 98 years old. I videotaped her for the last 4 years. She poured into me and my children. Enos said, go ahead, Uncle Willie, speak. Absolutely. And with that being said, I have to give my condolences to my family. My cousin Shirley just passed away. They just laid her to rest this Saturday in North Carolina. Shout out to the Mitchell family, Ty, Kurt, and Gary. Sending prayers to you all. Everybody, this is Real Talk. Subscribe to it. You got questions for Uncle Willie? I think he's dropping a lot of bombs. You can call them jewels, but you can call them bombs. You know what I'm saying? Anything else? Anybody you have some questions? Lorraine said, if your mother, grandfather is still here, go sit down. And Lorraine said, this is a perfect appointment. That's why I got Uncle right now. She said, if your mother or grandmother is still here, go and sit down and get the history. Uncle, a lot of people don't want that knowledge. Or I should say they don't want that knowledge. I just did a speaking engagement this week. And when we started asking about, did you know who this person was and that person was, they didn't know. But if I asked them, what was Ja Morant's stats or LeBron James stats or what his son's stats were, they knew it. It's a shame. Like there's such a lost spirit, a soul. It really is. I don't understand. How do we get our youth back in this?
Stop them from being too busy. They're busy in the wrong. Bill, when I grew up, we had a book.
Yeah.
If I needed to understand anything about this world, I had to read it. Right? Today, in 2 seconds, a child can go anywhere in this world to find out how it's run, to find out what's going on with it, to find out what the difference is, right? Anywhere in the world, and in a matter of seconds, right? I had to go to school to learn these things, and I had to be taught to learn these things. So if it's at your fingertips, you should be able to make a difference no matter what. We have an opportunity today to get everything that we need, to get everything that we want, right? And to get it the way that we want. How many people fight just for your family first? I fight for my family. It's important. Everybody is not, we're not always on the same page in my family, and that's all right. I'll wait till we can be on the same page. But in the meantime, I'm going to fight for those that willing and want to and need. I'm going to fight for them.
And I can speak factual to that because we've had extensive conversations. If my uncle, if he feels you are not ready for something that he can embrace you and put you in a position for, he will not give it to you. I know factually. Like, listen, I've seen it from the family tree. Let me just read some comments. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Please subscribe to it. Allie, I'm gonna bring you in thoughts and comments on anything. Stefania said, unfortunately, there is barely any unity in the community today. We don't trust each other. Uncle, I want your thoughts on that. She also says, what are your What are Uncle Willie's thoughts on the drama that happened with Kyrie and Kanye, yet the lack of drama with Jerry Jones?
Right. Kyrie and Kanye are rich. They are not aligning themselves with the average Black. Their lifestyle is not what Black lifestyle is. So they're not here. They're not fighting. They're not, you know what? Kanye does everything that he can for himself and his people are all white, right? And anybody, any coach, right, that says racial things or do racial things shouldn't be there. But how many people writing letters to say that? How many people writing letters to Kanye saying, you know, you know what, great blessings to you to have $1 billion, right? But what do you do with the Black community? You got all these people with billions of dollars. Let me tell you something, Bill. Let me tell you a pet peeve of mine, right? There is a disease in the Black community called sickle cell anemia, okay, that attack Blacks. Yep. Billionaires got these Black billionaires, all kind of money. I haven't heard of one Black billionaire put a dime to a sickle cell anemia. But you know what happened? What? And can I be real?
Real talk. Go ahead. We on YouTube, baby. Say what you say. Go ahead.
White people, they design the dick, appeal to make the dick bigger, to make the dick harder. All right? But they won't put a dime into sickle cell anemia that could save lives. It's painful for young Black people. No money's being put into that. So I got a problem with all the people that got billions of dollars that does nothing for their own people, but satisfy their need for themselves. Oprah give all kind of causes and shit to white people. No money going to sickle cell anemia. Until they start looking at their own people to say, I want to stop this disease for young Black people it's very painful. They have to go in the hospital because their blood turned to sick, like a sickle cell, the cell is sickle. I know it very well. Very painful. Yeah. Right? So they have to have that blood washed out and put blood in. Yeah. Nobody's looking into that. So all the people that you're talking about now, I don't give a damn about them until they give a damn about our people.
So you think? I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying you're saying it. It's also absolutely like money makes people forget who they were, right? Well,
money have made them who they are.
Yeah.
Right? They're not connected with the Black community.
Yeah.
Where have you seen Kanye connected to a Black community?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you see Michael Jordan connected to the Black community? They sell sneakers with so much money that the average Black person can't even wear them. Kanye got shoes that he sells that Black people can't even wear. But they buying them, Bill.
Yeah, like I was telling the kids today, when I was talking to the kids, I told them, I said, listen, you idolize all the negativity, all the rappers and stuff like that you want to emulate. But where are their kids? Are their kids sitting next to you in the schools? All their kids are in the suburbs or in Ivy League schools.
Right.
But they're sitting in their neighborhood. They'll come up and roll a blunt and smoke it on your corner, and then they'll go back to the suburbs. So right. I said, yo, you know, everybody that you emulate is not somebody that you can reach out and touch. Let me read some comments and questions and stuff like that. Lorraine said, I started my organization and your uncle introduced me to Melba. Thank you, Mr. Willie, for helping me. We have been feeding and clothing our seniors for the last several years. Eddie also says, that was from Lorraine Kitchen. Shout out my sis. She says, Eddie said, I have to say it's a huge victory for the Black and brown community that a Black artist got the opportunity to create the Martin Luther King Monument. I'll go with you on that, Ed. Yeah. Enid said, but even movies like Hidden Figures, Martin Luther King movies, are so forth, then follow up with readings. You know, Enid, I totally agree. I said this all the time. Positivity doesn't sell. I could do a brunch party. I could do anything. I could say anything. Somebody could throw a party, slap her and kick her down the street, down the steps, and everybody will be online to get in there. I'll say something about positivity. As you all know, Real Talk Chronicles. I don't shoot bullshit at you. I give you the real, the skinny, and it's the hardest thing to sell for me, and I stay with it because it's the most positive thing I've ever done, giving back to my people and community. Besides going out speaking across the city and in the tri-state, so I love it, and I'll never stop doing it. And also sitting down and watching documentary movies and so forth. I just watched. I'm just scrolling back and forth. Everybody, I apologize. She said, let me get it. She said, I just watched Alice based on a true story. It's part on stars. Everybody giving you stars on Rochelle giving you stars on what you were saying. Ina said reading is fundamental. Allie, what you think? Uncle dropping some gems tonight, right?
Yes, indeed. When I listen to him, I feel so gratified to have had positive people. I think that's the thing we just got to keep. If it's not happening enough, then we have to make it happen, Bill. So the fact that you go out and you speak on the lecture circuit, the fact that I'm asked to come into school systems and charter schools and so on and so forth, that's what then it's our responsibility to get it to them, to remind them that the information is at their fingertips, or to pick up a book. It wouldn't kill them. We got to give it to the kids. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not a parent myself, but I have to pour that into them because someone poured into me. I can remember the times that I had with one of my mentors, Nancy Wilson. And sometimes, I get to go see her after the show at the hotel, and we'd sit and talk. And she would talk to me about, a lot of people thought, that they would all be going out, that whole crew would be like maybe Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte and her and a whole bunch of them. And they, after the show, they go back to the hotel and party. No, they'd go back to the hotel and they'd strategize. They were in it, in different, from different parts of the country to try to figure out how can we help Dr. King? How can we get the message into the communities? That's what they were doing. Do you know what I'm saying? And they had to do it kind of on the low. So they would maybe be in her suite because they figured nobody would figure to look where, what, and Nancy, they, you know what I'm saying? They were doing these kinds of things. And for me to sit down and hear someone speak that, someone who was actually there, and then maybe pick up a book or a magazine or something, and when you see them commemorate and you look and you see her there in the pictures, standing next to James Baldwin, or say, what I'm saying? Then you go like, wow, they were really there. One piece of information as the story goes, Dr. Angelou, as you know, I always speak of her, and she was my mentor. She was preparing to celebrate her birthday when she got the news that Dr. King had been assassinated. As a result, consequently, she stopped celebrating her birthday for a very, very long time. It was very devastating to her. She was a part of his team, and they were doing great works. And when he was cut down, they came to her apartment and told her, and she shared that with me, and when she was alive, and you could just see, you just got a sense of the urgency that they all worked with to try to make things better for their community and around the world for Black people.
Alan, let me ask you a question. What from your opinion? I mean, and we all have, Ali, you and I are very close in age, very, very, very close. Well, because everybody, Alyson is so young, so that's what I'm just trying to say. Like, and I say, but I say that, and Unc is only 2 years older than us. I say this because let's deal with another elephant in the room, like what happened. And I want you to chime in. I'm gonna open the forum. I'm gonna go back to some questions and comments in here, and please, everybody, subscribe to it. But what happened to our communities, the Black and the brown communities? How do we get them back? Like, let me tell you something. Speaking at the school, shout out to Dr. Young for having me there. For the whole week, and all the people that have asked me to speak at schools and things of that magnitude. But our youth are so divided and lost. How do we get them back, Ali?
You mentioned them. Bill, God has blessed me with a lot of resources. I mean, a lot of resources.
Absolutely.
So anybody that has come to me can never say I charge them for the things that they need. That will help them change their life.
Right.
With these resources have always been free.
Yep.
And I've always freely given them. And that's what's missing in the community. How do you give the resources that you have freely to people that need it? And when we do that, you're saying, I'm going to help this person elevate themselves to a level that they personally doesn't have today. You never even you'll come to me if it's something that you can't do and you need. You're saying, I need this.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's done.
Yeah.
And it's done. And this is what I've done all my recently in the last month. Formed a company with two guys, as well as I am, that I've been with. The three of us know everybody. We just formed a consulting company because everybody's saying you should be a consultant, you should do this. So we formed a consultant and a lobbyist company, and we're registered now. And we're going to make the money that white people make. But you know what? It wasn't because we're doing this for money. Because we're all pretty good. We all talked about how do we help our community grow, communities grow, not just Harlem. And that the money, the resources are going to that. There's nobody to come to me and ask me for anything that I don't give them if I have it.
Right.
And I've been blessed to have it.
Right. And I'm sure, I know personally in regards to you, I'm speaking personally now. When you align yourself with people like that, you know what I'm saying? You know, because like you said, bottom line is right now, it's time for those that have to pay, should pay, and you will always go give back to those that in need. I know that personally. Stefani said, but we've lost, she said, but we've lost it to a degree that I can't foresee it returning. She says we get them through bringing back, when we was talking about values. So she also says, we get them back, we get, because the screen is moving, we get them back through bringing back family values. But if it's lost to a degree that I can't foresee it returning, do you think we can get it back? Let me tell you something. I was speaking to these kids, and like I said, before the pandemic, I was doing it all the time. I was feel so blessed to go back and do it in the school. And there's a segment I will post in regards to it. And I had to tell these kids, I said, listen, you're about to graduate from high school. After high school, no one cares about little Petey or Melquan or Jose or Bahamid. Nobody cares. Unless you're doing something for them in a college aspect, playing ball or some kind of athletic or academic. Let's not lose that academic aspect of it. You're not going to be coddled. And I was looking at the way kids were acting. You know, it was so funny. They were being so coddled. Kids acting out bad behavior. Oh, he's this way. Yo, listen, sit down and be quiet, little punk. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking from emotion now. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, shut up. Like, mm-hmm. What is this? Not you don't have to say it to the kids, shut up, but listen, you speaking out and then talking about, well, he has emotional. He don't have emotional. He's used to doing that. Because if he's sitting in here and you're not giving him any medicine, he all right. And I just couldn't believe how the Department of Education has coddled kids and made it all right for them to have bad behavior. It's almost like rewarding bad behavior. It really is. I experienced it firsthand.
Well, when you had a part you talk about family values. Let me explain. You hear somebody that always use the phrase "it take a village to raise a child," right? But do they really know what that means? I was born and lived in an area where there's a village in Alabama that if I'm a block away from my home and I'm not supposed to be there, somebody's going to ask me, are you Nancy's child? That's Nancy's child. What are you doing here, boy? Right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to hit me and they're going to send my ass home. And I'm hoping that they don't call my mother. Right? You say something to a child today that a child is doing something wrong and the family want to jump on your ass.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you got to kick the family ass. Yeah.
So we're not even allowing people, right, to make our children better. Our children are always right And as long as they're always right, you're going to always be wrong, right? Help other people to help raise your children. And I'm saying, you know what that's like. You know, you're not going to let a sadistic person talk to you about your child. But if somebody's saying your child is doing something wrong, don't be willing to jump in their ass because they told you that. But these are the values that you have today. We have children raising children. Nobody ever taught them. They don't even know what to teach somebody else.
And you know what's so funny? I'm gonna say this, Uncle, and then I'm gonna read some comments on. I'm gonna bring Allie in. I could sit here when they told the kids I was a retired detective. I got all this energy, right? It wasn't until I told them that I had a history in martial arts, and if they wanted to introduce themselves to me, and I could introduce my martial arts to them, if you all can read between the lines, because I wasn't binded by the school. I'm not taking what you give those teachers. So if you want to see what I've learned, come up here and let's get this shit over with quick so I can speak to this class. It was a shame that fear got the respect that I should have got just because I said I'm a mister.
Right.
And that's real talk. That's real talk, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Allie, Willie Walker, we rocking, everybody. Vanessa said no accountability for our children in the recipe for disaster. Greatness said Dr. King has been purposely misrepresented before and after his death, and people fell for the okie doke. Everybody, this is Real Talk. If you like it, subscribe to it, share it. Let people know what we're talking about over here. It's not a game. We keeping it 100 with you. Stefan, Rochelle says supporting each other is one way to get it back. We got to find out. You know, Rochelle, I really agree with that. It's just I just think people of color are so. I'm not even going to use the word Willie Lynch because we don't even know where he's from and how he's from. But I just think we are so taught to hate on each other. Black and brown people, we don't know how to help each other. You know, this show is about Dr. Martin Luther King, and we going down the rabbit hole, which I love because let's talk facts and fiction. Let's talk real facts here. We as people, are black and brown people, we need help. And my question to you all out there, not the listeners, maybe you can spread it to somebody else. How are you helping and what are you doing to give back? Because let me tell you something. Like Uncle said earlier, Alyson talked about it. I talked about it. Village. I had somebody ask me one time at a speaking engagement, "What you doing giving back? How are you giving back?" I said, "I'm standing here in front of your punk ass." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm giving back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm giving back. So what can I do? You know, some people march, some people speak, some people lecture, some people give advice. Some people speak out. So the bottom line is, like I said, it's all about the village. The village is important. Unc and Alyson, we lost that village, and truth be told, I don't know if we'll ever get it back. Your thoughts, Allie? What's your thoughts on that? And Unc, your thoughts on that?
I don't like to say we've lost it because I think we're a part of it. And it's just going to, it seems like you would be the majority, but sometimes it ends up being the minority, the smaller denominator that's trying to continue to get the work done. Doctor used to always say, when you give, when you learn, teach. And we have to take opportunities and make opportunities to do what we need to do. We can't wait for somebody to come and say, well, this is what's getting ready to happen. Sometimes we have to just take the initiative. I think that the village is very much alive. I just think that, we have to continue to strengthen it from the inside out. I think we're part of the village.
Absolutely.
So we can't say we lost it. But it just seems like it should be more of us in the mindset, but heck, they'll catch up later. In the meantime, we got to keep on grinding, keep on trying to make, mentor these young people, volunteer, like Uncle Willie said, try to have a voice in the community and know what's going on, as opposed to just, it's not my, that's not my, you have to be in it to win it.
Yeah. And I
and
totally
start
agree.
focusing on things that are really going to make a difference and make a change, as opposed to focusing on things that are frivolous and, just there, that are momentary, monetary, and
Absolutely.
don't really make a difference.
Absolutely. Hold on, Unc. I just want to say this, and please, we're still doing it, but when we speak, like I try to tell the young people closer to the age of the high school people that, because like I tell the kids in the school, I say, yeah, I get it. What do I know? I'm an OG, right? That's the title you want to give me, OG. What do I know? There's such a gap between the age disparity. But the bottom line is, we got to find that youth in between, that those 22s, that 30s, that to get them back galvanized and speak out and talk and get it. Because the bottom line is, we are the Willie Walkers, the Alyson Williams, the Bill Forsters. We're out here. We're speaking to them. Vanessa says, right on, spot on, Mr. Walker. It is also like a prerequisite. If you won't give back to us, we will make you a millionaire or a billionaire. Unspoken covenant to riches. Shaking my head. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts and comments. I mean, what do you think? Can we get it back to the community, the village that we once had? God willing.
Well, it's said the journey of a mile starts with the first step.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get people willing to take the first step. And the first step, and I've said it all since I've been on tonight, is how do you change your community is by being a part of it. You can sit back and say what it should be, how it should be, and who should do what. But if you're not a part of it, you have no right to complain. Join your community board, right? There are things that police council, community council in your precincts, in your area. Find out what they're doing. Make a difference in the police precinct to make sure that your young people in the community is taken care of. How do you do that? Join the police council. Most people don't even know what's in their community to make a difference. Get your ass out there. Stop looking at TV, right? Stop shaking your behind. Get out and find out what's going on in your community and be a part of it. If you want to make a difference, if you don't want to make a difference, do what you've been doing. I want to make a difference. Absolutely. And I think it's important that I work in my community, and every day I do.
Absolutely. My man, Darren Joseph, my brother, he says we can get it back. We just have to he said we have to sadly put it in TikTok for them to digest it. That's real talk. Yeah, that's it.
That's real talk.
That's real talk. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alyson Williams. That's Willie Walker. I'm Bill Forster. Subscribe to it. Like it. With that being said, we understand. I think we talked about the problem and we talked about the solution. Maybe, can you give us just another perspective of what you feel Dr. King meant to you, and maybe the evolution of where we have come to now, where we've reached?
Well, Dr. King taught us that you can make a difference if it's unified. If we join together, we can make a difference. Do you know in business, right? If you come to business, a person in business, and you want something, and you come by yourself, they don't hear you. But when you're part of an organization and you come, they're willing to listen to you and they're willing to give you what you want. In unity, people getting together, people working together make a difference. You could get what you want if you're willing to join with another brother or sister to say, we're in the battle together.
Allie, what's your thoughts, sis?
I'm just glad to be here and be amongst you guys, having a chance to have a voice, and knowing that I feel like I'm on the right path to listen to Uncle Willie. And those are the things that I try to do. I try to be a part of my community. I try to find out what I can do, how can implement myself into it. So I know that I'm doing the right things. I'm thankful to have people that have poured that kind of positive message into me, right, that allow me to go forward and pass it on to everyone that I can, especially our youth. So I'm just glad that I was able to chime in today. First third Monday of the new year, and talk about something positive. So that's where
I think sometimes we all need that wake up push and that call to give back. You know what I'm saying? I always say that sometimes it's sad that the Alysons, the Willie Walkers, and the Bill Fosters are separated and they don't want us to speak out. I've learned that in my life, that sometimes speaking out, once you put the bullseye on your back. But if we all agree on something and we want to fight for the common good of our communities, our Black and brown people, it's something like the statistics that I was reading to the youth today. I mean, the week, in regards to crime and stuff like that, in lieu of like 72% of the crime committed against people of color is done by people of color. You know what I'm saying? Like the stats are overwhelming, and it's sad. You know, we need to feed our youth, people of color, some more positive. Like, I was in a library and I was overwhelmed, and I asked the children in the library, I said, how many of you have read books in here? And it was sad to see the number of hands that didn't go up. You know, you got all this knowledge and you don't want it. And you know, like you said earlier, like everything is at our disposal right now. Let me tell you something. There isn't anything. We can be smart dumb. And people say, what do you mean by smart dumb? We have a phone right now that can give us anything. That it'll tell us anything. Siri and what's the other girl's name? You know, Alexa. They'll give us two women that'll give us anything we want. You know, knowledge. You can, and listen, you can be smart dumb. You don't even have to learn how to read anymore. All you can do is push certain articles. They'll say audio, and you can just listen to it. So, but you still can listen and learn. So please tell your children, your grands. I don't know what group I'm talking to. I think I do have an idea. Let them know, listen, you still can learn. Use that phone to become a better person. It's easy. It's not hard math. Like I tried to tell these kids, I really will post that clip that I did. I told them, I said, listen, after high school, nobody cares. You got a system, a correctional facility that's waiting for you, or you got the world that you can make a difference. My man Greatness says, his segregation forced us to band together. Has integration destroyed the sense of urgency? What do you think?
I think the worst thing we could have gotten is go to white schools. I went to Black schools, right? And I was taught from a Black perspective that you got to get this. I didn't have white teachers. So when you got white teachers, they don't care whether you get it or not. It's a job to them. It was a career for Black teachers to teach you in a Black setting. And they gave you everything from economy to economics to history about Black people. We learned it. And they did it with pride. So sometimes when you see segregating schools haven't always been the best because we haven't gotten what we need out of it. It's still from a white perspective.
Hi, Walter in the building. How you doing, sis? She said, love this platform. Collectively speaking on the marginalized mindset of the younger generation and how do we improve the mentality of our Black youth? Yeah, it's a big point. I'm gonna talk to you sidebar. I'm gonna get you here once a month so you can just drop some jewels and we can keep this going because, you know, I always say positivity is the hardest thing we got to sell in this community, and it's sad. I mean, it's
Alyson even trying to give me a job for the longest. That's a job.
well, listen. Only when he wants to.
He didn't get the memo, Uncle Willie. You're retired.
Alyson,
yo, listen.
He called me today, Alyson. He called me today about 2:00 and said, "Oh, I need you to be on the show tonight because now he could have told me last week I got Black History, Martin Luther King Day.
But you know what's so funny?
We waited till the day because he know he can.
But you know what's so funny? We talked yesterday, but we were talking about something else.
Right.
And then we was talking about food and family. So
Right.
I didn't interrupt it. And then when we got off the phone, I was like, oh. And then I meant to call him back. And I said, I'm gonna call him in the morning. And then I just said, but you know what's so funny? Like he said, I know I can, but I knew the topic that would strike the fire. If I'd have talked about some BS, he would have been like, I got some shit to do. I don't
know. You talk about bullshit too. I have never. The point is, I have never refused you, no matter what.
Well, I know that, but something like this is more important than BS.
Yes,
now we can talk some BS. We can talk some BS.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is thought provoking. This is something that we need to talk about in this setting.
Absolutely, and especially what apropos to give it to Dr. King. This is our way to pay homage. Everybody, if you like it, subscribe to it. Rochelle said we need to promote working with our community more, the positive community, and support each other more daily. Thank you. And with that being said, Rochelle, I'm going to ask everybody that's watching right now, subscribe to it if you haven't, and just go on your Facebook and share it to your social media platform. Let's share positivity. We can share a lot of other stuff. I'm not saying you all will not do that. I'm just asking you all to do that. So that's the personal question that I'm doing. I'm asking. Vanessa said, right. I have a Southern man tell me that integration hurt us in the South, and that took the resources out of our communities to become self-sufficient. What you think about that, Aunt?
Yep.
He said,
because it never put anything back. You know, the South, until you have Black representation, you're going to have taxation without representation, right? Mm-hmm. And what has happened, the same curricula that they taught to white kids in a desegregated school is being taught to Black kids, and it's not received, and it's hard to understand it because you're coming from a white perspective. They haven't changed that curriculum. It's still the same. Mm. So they're trying to tell a Black child, you have to learn from a white perspective, but you'll never be in that setting.
Mm. Wow. That's real talk. My man Reggie said segregation forced us to band together. Has integration destroyed the sense of urgency?
So, what integration did is that it forces Black people to want to live like whites. Mm. It forces Black people to want to get in the white setting and didn't have the finances to do that. You know, so why not grow your own community? We grew our own community. That was Black communities, but we made it better, right? It wasn't.
We did grow our own communities, and they burnt them down.
Right. Because what whites have always done is destroyed anything that Blacks achieve or create.
Right.
Exactly.
And we got to call whites white what it is. They have never done anything to make it better for Blacks, and they always try to take anything from Blacks. We're light-skinned not because we are Black people from Africa. We're light-skinned because of the racism and the hatred and the rapes of Blacks.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Eddie Vieira said, I made an offer to listen to my parents' story growing up and my grandparents, and it gave me perspective, and I taught my sons where they came from and their PR history, but this isn't done anymore. Absolutely, Eddie. It's a shame that, it's so funny. When I was talking to the youth, and I showed them how when it wants to be statistical, how they can clump us up together about Blacks and Hispanics, but they don't want to teach us a historical togetherness where we came from. It's just a train stop away. 135th Street, 125th Street. They don't want to do that. So it's about separation and conquer and divide. Doris said, Alyson, please let me know when you are performing in Charlotte. P.S. The segregation was the worst thing that ever happened to us. Vanessa said, right. Once we saw how they lived compared to how Black people lived, it was beginning for us to sell out. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Subscribe to it. I'm not going to ask you again because we're going to get off. Anyway, listen, we always end with positive affirmation. if y'all please give some hearts for Alyson and Unc. If y'all want Unc to come back, send some more hearts or inbox me. So we can smoke a cigar and I can be like, Unc, they want you to come back. Seriously. I want you to come back. But listen,
Alyson, that's what he does. You know, well, that's what he does, Alyson.
So
listen, Alyson, he always put the hardship shit on me, right?
We know who he is.
And Alyson, he's good at this shit, you know. And I know he's doing it, and I just say, okay, fine.
Yeah. Listen, that's his give back. Stefani said, "Come back, Uncle Willie!" In exclamation points. Absolutely. So, Uncle, we always end with positive affirmation. Allie, tell us where you are, where you're going to be, how you feeling, what's going on. And give us some positive affirmation before you go out, but let us know.
Okay, really quickly. Like I said, we started up again with Najee promoting the new CD Savoir Faire, my single Valentine Love, and so keep your eye out for the Najee dates. You can find me on Facebook, Alyson Williams Music, and I'll be posting the ones that I know that I'm confirmed on. Coming up this week, if you're on the West Coast, I'll be at Yoshi's with Najee on Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday back in Alexandria, Virginia at the Birchmere's with Glenn Jones. So that's this weekend coming up. And of course, I'm looking forward to next month with Valentine's Day coming up, because I have a song that speaks into it, but mostly I'm excited about it being Black History Month, and I got a whole bunch of good stuff coming up that speaks into our history and the richness. And so I want everybody to just continue to work from a place of love. If we work from a place of love, hate can't win.
Absolutely. Give us some positive affirmation. Anything you want to say on your closing?
Hey, Alyson, let me tell you this, Alyson. Then I'll tell you what I want to say. When Bill got married and we talked about it, right? Alyson, I was going to get married before him. Just
here we go with this.
I remember that. I remember.
Alyson, I didn't even have anybody in mind, but I said, I'm going to beat you to this shit, and I didn't. But listen, it's something that I say to my daughters, right? And I want them to always remember, you're just as good as those who think you are, and better than those who think you're not. Think about that, people. It's something that I've taught my daughters, and to always remember, because I remember it about myself. And that's, you're just as good as those who think you are, and better than those who think you're not.
Amen.
Amen.
Everybody, I love you, Uncle Willie. It was great seeing you.
Love you, baby. Always.
Everybody, give up the hearts. Everybody, that's Alyson Williams. That's Uncle Willie Walker, my uncle, but you can affectionately call him Uncle. I am Bill Forster. Listen, Forster the moment with positive vibes only. What more can I say? This is Real Talk Chronicles. Listen, Happy New Year. Share some love. Hate is
love
easy.
you, Alyson. Love you, nephew.
Love you. See you next month, Bill.
Share it. Exactly. Appreciate you guys.
Listen,
absolutely.
Love always.
Absolutely.